We are continuing with the teachings of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj from the book I Am That. So, Maharaj says, in the great mirror of consciousness, images arise and disappear, and only memory gives them continuity. And memory is material, destructible, perishable, transient. On such flimsy foundations, we build a sense of personal existence, vague, intermittent, dreamlike. This vague persuasion, I am so and so, obscures the changeless state of pure awareness and makes us believe that we are born to suffer and to die. So, the thing is that the memory brings up this notion of separate existence, that we are the body, that we are the mind. And based on that, based on the impressions that we have collected over the years of our conditioning, we start believing that we are this finite entity that is born to suffer and die. We see that the body is decaying, the body is aging, the body is undergoing diseases, problems, pains, aches, and so much suffering is there for the body. And even the mind. The mind also goes through so much turbulence. But it is all identification with the body. The identification that I am so and so, this is my identity, this is what I am supposed to do. Because that has what been continuously fed to us by our society, our caretakers, our schools, the education we have received. The limited individual is given a lot of responsibilities and is expected to carry out those responsibilities to the best of his or her capacity. So we identify with the limited, with the mind and body. But think for a moment, if let's say magically, all your memory gets wiped out. Everything gets wiped out. You don't remember anything, no name, nothing, no body, nothing. What would remain? Now, this is a question that you can think about. If everything is wiped out, if all information is removed, what would remain? What would remain is what you truly are, because that is the ground of everything. Your being. That is the sun that never sets. That is where all imagination takes place. That is the screen of consciousness where the movie of the character's life is being played. You identify with the character, you get swayed by different things. At some point, you may feel you are limited, you are unworthy. And then you go on this quest for self improvement, for achieving greatness. But that feeling of lack, the turbulence of the thinking mind, the obsessive thinking mind that keeps troubling us, that does not go. So Maharaj is saying you are none of that. You are the being. The being is completely unaffected with what is happening. Being is the screen of consciousness. But without being, none of this play of life is possible. Then the questioner asks about progress. Now, here the implication is of spiritual progress. But I think material progress can also be discussed in this context. And Maharaj says, now I will read his words, there is progress all the time. Everything contributes to progress. But this is the progress of ignorance. The circles of ignorance may be ever widening, yet it remains a bondage all the same. Now, I'll share my own experience with you. I have worked in the corporate industry for over a decade. And when I was in my 20s, when I had completed my engineering, all the expectations from me were to join a corporate. And so I did. And I remember as a new employee, my only dream was to become project manager and manager and, just to, go higher up in the hierarchy. And I thought that once I achieve this level of success, then I will be happy. But you know what Maharaj is saying? Maharaj is saying that this progression is something which is very natural. If you work in a job, whatever you do, if you work even little bit efficiently, you are bound to progress. Some progress will definitely be there. But with progress also increases the ignorance. Because, say, when I'm a manager, I have limited resources with me. So I feel inadequate. I feel that I should have more resources, more money, more prestige, more people working under me. So I aspire to become the project manager or vice president of the company. Because then I imagine that then I will be more happy. So I work hard. I work for 1 or 2 decades more. And then I become project manager or vice president of the company. Then what happens? So along with this progress, this thing which I see as a progress, also increases my delusion, also increases my ignorance. Because this creates an inflated sense of self. It creates pride and arrogance. So with all this power or all this prestige that I have accumulated, I have also accumulated more and more pressure on myself, more and more burdens on myself. Unfortunately, this is the part of it. You cannot separate the pain from the pleasure. And generally, the pain is greater than the pleasure. That is why Maharaj says it is a delusion. And some people really get offended by these statements because we are so fed this idea that we have to become this, become that. It comes from conditioning. And it's not our parents' fault as such because they also received a similar conditioning. It was, our parents forcefully fed this idea into our parents that if you don't work, then you will not be respected, then you will not get this, you will not get that. So all this illusion is created. So there comes this me, this sense of personal identification, which keeps fighting throughout life. Oh, let me attain this, let me acquire this, let me work harder. So we ignore our family life, we ignore our hobbies, we give up all our interests, and we are just, focused on one target, one objective. So we just wait for those days when we get a leave application sanctioned, and then we go to some hill station or take a vacation for 10-15 days, and then come back to the same situation. So maybe for those who are lucky, once a year, especially in India, once a year they get to do that. But you see, when this ignorance dissolves, there is something which comes up. You see, mind has two aspects. One is the thinking obsessive mind. The thinking mind is only concerned with the outcome. Thinking mind is the ego mind. Because it is only concerned with attaining, becoming, greatness, power. It is all about acquiring more to become greater. Then there is the other mind, which is the creative mind, which is the working mind, which is the flow mind. Once that mind activates and thinking mind dissolves, what comes out is pure creativity, pure genius. If you ask some of the greatest artists in the world, for them their art was never work. It never felt like work for them. It was completely effortless for them. I came across one such artist who was a wonderful dancer, and I asked him, "How do you dance so well?" And he told me that this is not my work. I don't see it as a work. I don't have to put any effort. It just naturally comes from within me. And that boy is a young boy, so he has all the society's conditioning acting on him to get a job, to make to make a fixed salary, and to find a secure job. All those pressures he has, but he's so devoted to his art. He says that this is my worship, this is my prayer. And the creativity that fellow shows is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. But you see, the problem with us is that we get scared because that fear has been fed into us. And that fear comes from the sense of separate existence, from this personal identification, which is based on ideas and memories. I am so and so. I am this. I come from this family, so I cannot take a risk. I have to live like this. There are fixed opinion. People get so fixated on things. It is all thinking mind. It is all the fear-based mind which is actually hampering your true progress, your true potential. Once you get to know yourself, then you become fearless, as Maharaj says here. Completely fearless, indomitable, victorious. I'll read Maharaj's word. He says, you must know your own true being, Swarupa, as indomitable, fearless, and ever victorious. We are much more capable of accomplishing what we think we can, because we are beyond thought. We are the infinite. But you see, when we identify with the thought that we are this limited, and this is what we want to accomplish. You say, I come from a very humble background, so this is what I can do. Then we close so many doors. Now, I'm not saying that everyone will become a millionaire and, become highly successful. Success, the definition of success is different for different people. My definition of success is someone who lives and works with peace of mind, who lives in harmony with existence. That is my definition of success. If you're not living in harmony with existence, if you're not peaceful inside, then all your work, all your money, all your status, all your acquisitions, all your relationships, everything is completely useless, completely meaningless if you're not at peace. And this message specifically is about integrating into daily living. It is not about going to Himalayas and becoming a renunciate. And even Maharaj here says that, and now I will read Maharaj's words, which will bring more clarity. He says, in the due course, a guru appears to teach and inspire us to practice yoga, and her ripening takes place, as a result of which the immemorial night of ignorance dissolves before the rising sun of wisdom. And he also continues to say, but in reality, nothing happened. The sun is always there. There is no night to it. The mind, blinded by I am the body idea, spins out endlessly its thread of illusion. So when Maharaj says that the Guru appears, it is not necessary that the Guru may appear as a living entity, as a person. The Guru may come as a spiritual insight. A Guru may come as in the form of some teaching. Guru can come in different forms. And that is when this night of ignorance begins to dissolve, because you see that the pain and pleasure are connected with everything and you cannot separate this duality. Whatever you aspire to become in life, which is usually a borrowed idea from our parents, from our culture, that is where you set yourself in limitations. And this limitations has a cost which your soul has to bear. Because every day you live with it. You live with the fact that this is the limitation that you are in. Even in the case of a spiritual progress, you limit yourself by identifying yourself as a seeker. You say, I am the seeker, I need a guru. Without physical guru, without a person guiding me, I am not going to achieve enlightenment. That is where you also get trapped in that cycle of ignorance. So Guru, or the source, when the source wills, it dispels ignorance. And you see that all of this seeking, trying to become, material seeking, spiritual seeking, intellectual seeking, whatever you call it, all of this was an illusion. The sun of truth was always shining. And the effort was also a part of the illusion. Because awakening is spontaneous and completely effortless. There is nothing you have to do to awaken. There is no you that awakens. Awakening is the dissolution of you. It is the dissolution of the sense of personal identification. So in awakening, what remains is the eternal self, or the pure consciousness, or the pure awareness. And I will conclude with the last, by reading the last line of Maharaj. He says, in complete obedience to nature, there is no effort. The seed of spiritual life grows in silence and in darkness until its appointed hour. You think that you are doing the seeking, but the seeking is happening. There is no seeker. Once this insight shines, that is what true awakening is. When this insight shines alone, when this knowledge remains alone, because that is the end of seeking. So you may think that you are not spiritual, you are worldly, you are material, that you are, that maybe you want to spend your life partying, enjoying this and that. And I'm not going to tell you that those things are good and bad, because I'm not concerned with good and bad. What I'm saying is, whatever you're doing at this point of time, whatever is happening in your life, it is supposed to happen this way. That is why it is happening, and it is happening through the source. And all of this is eventually pointing you to your true nature. You may think that maybe you are indulging in substances and reckless enjoyment, but it is also happening through the source only. It is not you that is enjoying or doing anything. It is only the source that is doing everything. You are simply just there for the point, as the caretaker of the mind body organism, so as to speak relatively. So all of your movement, whatever is happening in your life right now, you may think it is right or wrong, but it is all happening according to a plan that you cannot make sense of, that you cannot understand. Yes, there will be suffering. Yes, suffering will be there in it. But even that suffering has a purpose which you cannot understand. But eventually, all suffering is leading you to that wholeness, to that source. Now, it may lead you through the process of material acquisition, or it may lead you there through the process of spiritual knowledge. Or you may transform from material to spiritual knowledge. That can also happen. There are many ways, there are different ways. Only the source knows which one is for you. But every movement is in the direction of that. So that is why Maharaj says there is no failure in yoga. You are going precisely in that direction where you are meant to go. Eventually, you will reach your destination.